Still watching a fairly well-defined little surface low that is spinning down in the Gulf. This activity is what has been fueling our showers and storms. Now, even with that well-defined low in the Gulf, Hurricane Center right now is designating that as a 0% chance of developing. Still invest 90L, but that really classification doesn't mean anything with the not looking at likely development. Even though winds are supportive of even a depression at this point, Hurricane Center is saying it's not really a tropical system per se, as it is along a frontal boundary that is down to our south. Notice what the winds are doing right at a buoy near that center, up to 30 miles an hour and gusting up to 36. So these little non-tropical systems can still impact us, and we're getting the rainfall from it on now day 3. We'll have like 3.5 days where the showers will continue into early tomorrow. Thankfully, we've also seen a lot of breaks in the rain, and while we do have some periods of heavy showers, they do move. We don't really just see them sitting. Now, if we got any kind of training, that's a different story, and really that has not been the issue. And aside from some isolated moderate to heavy showers, generally what we have seen is more of this light to moderate kind of steady nuisance rain all day long. That will continue through the evening and night, and even start continuing into early Saturday morning, still kind of figuring out when exactly the rainfall moves out. I've actually been talking with some folks out at Tulane about kickoff at 11. We may still have some rain at Yeoman at that time. Now, the flood watch remains in effect until tomorrow morning, as conditions will start improving through the midday and afternoon hours. And rainfall accumulation totals: almost an inch of rain at Lakefront, near an inch and a half at Kenner, and a ½ inch of rainfall at Hammer. We saw some of our highest totals more south central Louisiana. Morgan City, almost 3.3 inches of rainfall, and even higher totals along the coastline. So this system will keep the rain coverage around through the night. May start to see some activity early tomorrow morning, and at times maybe even some pockets of heavier showers. And then this Gulf low starts to sink down to the south with this approaching front. This should start to bring in that less humid air maybe late in the night Saturday, and by Sunday, very pleasant feel, especially if we can get those clouds out of here. It looks like we'll have a very nice day. Short-lived as moisture starts returning back on Monday, as will our rain chances. Because here's what is happening. This is the upper trough that is pushing a front that is in the mid part of the country right now. This upper trough will keep pushing that front south. Now, it looks like just the sheer momentum of that push will keep the front moving and push it just offshore, maybe just along the coastline. Problem, though, is that by Saturday late and into Sunday, that trough is already lifting northward. So that front and the drier air really loses any support to remain in place. As we continue into early next week, we're going to start watching moisture surging back in from the Gulf. And this little feature right here is that low we have been talking about that was out in the central Atlantic a couple of weeks ago. We are still monitoring that same system. So the dry air moves in with that trough deepening and then quickly moving out. That'll kind of stall the front, probably just offshore. But very quickly thereafter, that little tropical low starts moving along either the western, maybe central Gulf, either even possibly inland over Mexico and coastal Texas. Either way, it's going to surge that tropical moisture kind of beginning Monday and keep us much wetter as we head through much of next week. So we get into the drier air briefly Monday, late Saturday into Sunday, and then as that little Gulf feature moves in, it'll be surging that moisture back over us. Speaking of the tropics, we had been looking at 5 areas highlighted, all with a low-end chance of development. That is now down to 2. One that has a 10% chance of doing anything, and the other is our system that we're watching right now over the Yucatan. And it will show you models, but so far the models have not been doing a great job recently with these features. At the moment, this wave is just sitting over the Yucatan. What the models think will happen is that that low will get into the Bay of Campeche, and here's kind of the leftover energy from our current Gulf low. They're going to kind of combine, which will make the forecast models even crazier than they are right now. And both the GFS and the Euro are kind of indicating a general motion toward the north, kind of along the western Gulf Coast, keeping our rain chances on the higher side through much of next week. So we will return with the more tropical rainfall, regardless of development, into next week. That'll wrap up midday tomorrow. We'll have a drier day Sunday, that 20% mainly right along the coastline. Showers return Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then start tapering off by next Friday.